The season grinds on, and I'm just a hobbyist. This is Barry's Best Honey. I'm Mike, and I do bees. Welcome back to another day in my 2020 beekeeping season, where I'm taking you all the way from winter through the next fall here in southeast Louisiana in my small operation. And I tell you this always, and I say it again, I'm not doing a how-to video, guys. I'm simply video logging my season as a whole, from winter through to fall. But if you happen to pick up any tips and tricks, that's great. And if you have any for me, leave me in the comment section. So we're out here today. It's a little breezy, gonna be a little wind noise on the camera. I know it's not a great microphone, it's not a great camera, but you know what? I was blessed with this camera by a certain beekeeper. He blessed me with it so that I'd have something to shoot with after mine was run over. And you know, it is what it is. But what we're gonna do today is go through a couple hives that I have concerns with. So the last video went through a few hives that I had some concerns with that were queenless and such, and hey, we had good news, we had queens. And I got a couple more hives now I want to go through. I got to thinking about it. One was a combine I did, combine number 1 with number 20. Number 20 was a swarm that just didn't have a queen, or the queen didn't make it. I don't know what happened to her. It was a swarm that was a windy day and the tree was going. So I combined 20 with number 1. I had to give them a lot of space, and I actually had put that on video, but I edited it out. It was too much for the video. But I'm gonna go ahead and look through that and see if they took advantage of the space I gave them. I have a new queen in number 1 that I had inserted a queen cell in, so I want to see if she took advantage of that space and if we've got good coverage. But it was almost so much pollen bound and honey bound before the flow that I gave them what space I could and leave it up to them to figure it out. They didn't have signs of swarming necessarily, but you know, who knows. But at this point in time in the season, when the dearth is coming on us, it's not far away, they tend to kind of be content a lot of times if they don't plug their nest too much. So that's the hope. But if they plug the nest the rest of the way up, yeah, they'll swarm during this flow. Our tallow flow, we get swarms around March, April, and then we turn around and we get swarms in May from the tallow flow. Usually big swarms too. So I had a swarm yesterday I got called to, and it was tiny, and it was about 15 foot up in a tree, and I said, hey, you know what, they'll move on, let them go. I didn't even bother with it. It's just that time of year. I also want to go ahead and take a look at number 17. Y'all remember number 17? That's been weeks now. That's that mean hive. I just left them alone. The bee population was down. We had a new queen. They didn't seem as bad. I left them alone, let everything get weeded out. I'm going to take a look at that and see what we got. All right, let's get on out here and take a look and see what we got in these two hives. Boy, I hope 17 has calmed down, because there's a lot of bees on the front, and I think they may have grown up pretty good. But if they're mean, that's not good. Hey guys, I'm out here at the hive starting up, and I'm going to try a little something with the noise and the wind. This is something that Mr. Bearden sent me out of Alabama. How do I know he's from Alabama? Because I said something about the tide. He didn't like that. Anyway, little idea to try and muffle the wind noise. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear this or not, but we're going to try it because the wind is picking up out here. We got some, just some clouds and stuff moving through. So guys, what I'm doing here, this is number 1, and this hive was a combine, as you can see by the paper. They didn't have a lot of room. The hive I combined it with had some good numbers, but they didn't have a queen. Went without a queen 3 weeks. It's time to move them. Gave them some cells about 5 weeks ago. Didn't matter. Do want to see if our queen is still going and moved up into the top. A lot of bees. I smoked them down, but we got a good amount of bees. Didn't have a lot of room, so I had to give her some foundation and some old frozen up brood. And so far, they're not the friendliest bees, but so let's see what they've done. Remember, we got a flow going on. This is a brand new frame I put in. No? Take that back. That one. That one is. Nice honey. So it was a lot of honey in here. And so I had to free up some. That's what happens when you got a hive that had no queen in the nectar flow. Don't put honey in. And they have. And that's okay at this point in the season because it's not a production hive, so it's okay for them to have brood in the bottom and honey at the top. That's a setup for winter, and that's fine. And we got a dearth coming, so. But I will also be able to take some of these frames and distribute them around other colonies if it's too full. But leaving them at least 6 frames is definitely ideal. This is a little light. Full of nectar on this side. Basically seeing if the queen moved up. Full of nectar on this side. Very light though for a whole nectar frame. So this is kind of my last question on queens. I mean, everything else is queen right. It was queen right when I put it together. Look, they drew this one out and they filled it full of nectar. Top to bottom. Same on this side. So they're just stacking nectar. All the way across the top. So probably two or three of these frames out. Oh, there's some eggs. Nope. Nope, nectar. Never mind. Caught the glare. Yeah, so it looks like we're going to have to go into the bottom. It's light. This is a new frame I put in here. And they've drawn it and put nectar in there. So the flow is definitely on. You can see that, but that's okay. As long as we got a good established hive, that'll be all right. That's heavy. Ooh, that's heavy. Ooh, the nectar. Just concerned with making sure I got eggs down here. Even though we come into a dearth, as we come into the dearth, they're going to begin to, queen's going to slow down on laying, but we still want her laying and want space for her because we need winter bees. Down here, she'll continue to lay through September easy. Actually, October, November, a lot of times, no problem. But her patches will be a lot smaller, obviously. Some drone brood going in. Gotta make sure they're not getting too big on me. I've already had one combine within a week and a half to make swarm cells. See the drone brood going in. Yeah, I've had a combine already take off. That beats me. That new queen ain't so bad. A little bit better than the old one, it looks like. If they utilize some of the space I gave them. Ooh, they're coming out of here. This is not a happy bunch of bees. All right, that's spotty because of the pollen all shoved in there. Again, I had a lot of pollen bound hive. I pulled 2 grains of pollen out of this last week. Oh, the baffle came off the camera, so the wind's going to affect it again. That idea didn't work. Oh, the rubber band broke. Oh, yeah. I should have flipped this box up. Yeah, there. These bees are everywhere. Hive doesn't like me being in here. It's gonna flip. Look at this. Baby cells. Get this drone brood up here. at them. Didn't see anything. Just a lot of drone brood. So we got brood in the bottom, a lot of it, and we got honey in the top. So it's a good configuration for the most part. But there's a lot of brood getting ready to explode out of here. I'm talking so far, every frame except one. There's our queen. I see her. That's a new queen. She's doing good. She's an exploding queen. So good on here. I need to. So what I can tell, I'm not going to pull no more frames. I can see her, but she's filling them up, and we're going to have an explosion in here. And I have a feeling they're going to need some space. I'm going to put a super on here, even though the honey flow is about over. Maybe give them a little more space, see what they do with it. Because I don't have a lot more frames to pull out right now, or to put in. But I might come back in here and pull some more honey frames out of the top. But right now, they're almost all nectar. I could put them in the freezer, but I really don't have anything to give them back. So I don't want to spin nectar out. We're just gonna see how they do, and I'll put a super on here, and we'll see if they put any remaining nectar up there. Maybe they'll move some of that. You know, I had a question on a video the other day. Do they move when they're honey bound? Will they move it if you put a super on it? In my experience, no. In my experience, no. That's my experience now. Do they move honey around? I've heard people say they do, but once they're honey bound, I have not seen that happen. They're not honey bound right now, but to keep them from being honey bound, I'm gonna put a super on, so if any more honey does come in, they'll put it up top and not in the brood nest. That's the hope. Because they're stacking the top full. That means they're preparing for winter, and then maybe we'll give them some more room to stack more in the top. Who knows, in the fall we might yank a honey super off full of honey. Man, those are some fired up bees. I'm gonna tell you, they're fired up for having a good queen now, and having plenty of honey and plenty of brood. They're fired up and to be in the middle of a flow. We're at about, well, we're not middle, but 3/4 away. They're fired up. But anyway, that's done. Shoot, man, she's laying like crazy in the bottom. That's night and day from that old queen. I wish I would have requeened them earlier. That was my fault. They would have been production hive, but they're not now. Oh well. Get what you get, you don't pitch, you fit. Hive number 17. I have not been in them in a long time. That last hive, number 1, has never been like that. Ooh, it was not happy with me, but I got bad weather moving in. That could be it. So, what better time to check 17 than now? Let's give it a whirl. Give them a puff in the front. I'm gonna try not to overly smoke them. I'm gonna smoke them like the book says to smoke them. Let's see what we got. Give them a smoke in the top. Now, most beginning beekeeper books say let it sit back down for a few seconds. I'm gonna do that. All right, I'm impatient. That's good enough. Let's go through them as though we're doing a full inspection, which I guess we could because I haven't been through them in so long. Let's see how they act. We'll know when we get in the brood nest. This is a new queen. The old queen was destroyed along with most of her her top box. I'm surprised not putting a ton of honey in here. She's laying brood all the way out to the edge. You can't see it, but she's laying brood out to the edge. This is a new queen now. They made themselves. This is one they made from their stock, their genetics. So it's never a guarantee. But we needed a month or so to let the old bees move on out. Oh, that's a big old piece of burr comb fell down there. Now I have seen this queen. A lot of burr comb. I don't want to shake them right now because I want to get a good measure of how they are. She's putting in eggs, still putting in eggs. So let's give them a puff. So what I want to do is give them a puff on this burr comb and get that off. Really I don't want to smoke them too much because I don't want to get a false indication of how they are. Usually if there's drones in here and you start scraping, that usually fires them up. Got a couple buzzing around my head, but they might have followed me over, man. That hive was something. It wasn't necessarily mean, it was just something. I'm gonna put this aside because I gotta get this out. Alright. Get some burr comb out of here. Y'all been following me, y'all that have been following me, y'all remember this hive. I'm looking for the queen. Doing a now. So I got a person that wants to come shadow me on some hives, but in case she happens to be watching, she wants to know, she's kind of nervous about looking through her hives. And what I tell people, your main goal is to see if they're queen right. This is Mike Berry talking, guys. And I'm going by what books have taught me and what I've learned. And so I want to see if I got healthy brood. I want to see if they're putting queen cells in. I want to see if they've got drones, which they do. But how's her pattern look? Do I see anything unusual? Do I see sickly looking bees? I want to see if she's laying eggs. But our main goal is queen right. We've seen eggs. I've seen larvae. You want to see if your larvae are pearly white. But those larvae I saw were too small yet. They tell you to take off some burr comb. You don't want a bunch of that. Now there's arguments out there with regard to varroa mites and taking burr comb. I'm not going to get into those, but I've heard them. And I'm not sure. I'm not making a statement one way or the other. I don't know. But you want to go ahead and pull and see if you got pearly white larvae. You just want to look for health. And you want to look at the number of coverage on bees. You know, this one actually could use a deep. But I don't have any more frames right now. I got to get some more foundation. I went through a couple hundred pretty quick. Oh, that's stuck. That's more burr comb. They like the burr comb in this hive, and that's because I got this particular bottom board on here. So now I'm seeing good pearly white larvae. Putting in comb because they need more room. Oh, look at that. And that's what we're looking for there. And they're not mean. Not at least compared to what they were. I got a few buzz on my face, but I really think that's the weather. He'll do something, but this is going to be an explosion here pretty quick. Look, look. Wow, and they're backfilling every open space with honey. So we've got to get this. Remedied. It's a good hive. Golly, to the burr comb. Really could stop right now. I've seen eggs. I'm gonna leave that burr comb on. I'm gonna get them back together. Take a look at the burr comb that I pulled out of here. I'm gonna go ahead and take that on back. There's a lot of burr comb. Get them on in there. Alright, not horrible. Not horrible. So they're not gentle, but they're not horrible. As the smoke clears, what I can tell you about those bees is they're not near as bad as they were. Now, I did stir them up quite a bit, and you can see I'm not gentle with my bees, so that's a lot of my issue. I got one following me out. That's actually better than that #1 hive I went through a little while ago. So they're doing good. I mean, are they gentle? No, but they're not near like they were when they would just pour out of there. And once you put the lid on, they do all right. They sat with the lid off probably 5 minutes while I went in and checked something, plus all the digging and all I went through and scraping all their brood. That was not just burr comb. I mean, it's burr comb, but it was full of brood, full of eggs. So, you know, all considering, they didn't do bad. Plus we got wind and we got clouds moving in, so rain's coming. So I'd have to say, all in all, I didn't think that was terrible compared to what they were. So I'm pleased. And what I'm really pleased with is her growth. That queen is, she's knocking it out of the park right now. You saw some spots, but that's where they got nectar stuck in there and pollen. So she needs space. It's such a tricky time frame right now because the dearth is getting ready to start. I keep telling you it's a dearth. It's really not a dearth. The main flow is getting ready to stop. We'll still have some stuff blooming, but elderberry, wild elderberry, is still blooming. So it's kind of at that point where we're losing the window to where they really draw a lot of comb without feeding. And you know, do you give them a bunch of foundation? No. So what I'll probably do is seed about 3 frames up to the top, maybe 4. Sprinkle some foundation in the bottom, sprinkle the foundation on the outsides and the top, and go from there. But they need space. She's putting all them, filling all that drone comb up, so she needs space. We're gonna do that. I gotta round up some foundation, and that's it. We'll get them set. Well, I was happy to see that hive looking in that good a shape. Whew. Well, folks, that's a wrap for today again. The grind continues. Well, it's not really a grind. We'll look through 2 hives. That's what I was saying in my last video. Most of my stuff is sitting and waiting and doing and growing and hopefully packing honey in or whatever. There's just a few that, you know, need a little bit of checking on. I don't go in them very often at this point in the year because it's usually a wait and see. I had that the 2 queenless from the last video, and they were good, so that pretty much made me queen right across the board that I could tell. And I did go ahead and check #1 to see if that queen, that after that combined, had moved, and she did. Put a super on there. The purpose of that super is, again, just like the last video when I put a super on that hive, it wasn't to necessarily get honey. It's because she's loaded with brood in the bottom, and she's got plenty of space down there once they emerge, but there's no space up top, and I don't want them to backfill the bottom with nectar, because as long as there's honey nectar coming in, they're going to fill it. Then they'll swarm late, and late swarms down here. Once you get in June, you get some of those tallow swarms. I call them tallow swarms because they fill up on tallow. They don't normally, man, I have bad success with requeening those swarms. They don't requeen, it seems like. I've lost a lot of hives early on in my beekeeping when I saw swarms in June. But I put a super up there. That way they're putting honey in the top deep, so they can continue to put honey on up. That gives them something else. She won't move up there because it's full of nectar on the top. What I would have done normally is spin those out, but they are completely nectar. I could spin it out and just feed it back to them, I suppose. But I just gave them a super. Let's see what they do with that, because the main flow is getting ready to be over. Now, if we were closer to the beginning of the flow, I probably would just spin that nectar out, throw it in a feeder jar, feed it to them, and you know, freeze it and feed it to them in a month or so. But now I just put a super on there and see how they do. And I'll check them in another week and just see if they're complying with my plan. They probably won't. So we'll see, because they're actually starting to put nectar in the bottom already. So let's let them see what they do. See if we can finish out the flow. And you know, I might leave that on there, and come fall pull it off. It might, after the goldenrod, it might be slammed full of honey, and they still have a top box full of honey, and we got us a box of honey. But as the flow is winding down, I think we'll be okay. Okay, so then I went to number 17. Any of y'all that have been following my videos and watched them, there's quite a few of y'all that watch all of them, and you remember 17 was the mean hive. I left them alone for weeks now. And they got a little buzzy at the end, but I also had left them open while I was in there looking for some frames, and I dug through their nest pretty good. But all in all, I don't feel that they were terrible. When I shut the lid, I had one follow me out with the camera. I'll take that over what we had before. I couldn't even get away from the yard before, and they were just still all over me. Matter of fact, the hive that we went through first was probably a little worse than them. And that tells me it's probably something to do with the weather. We got rain moving in. We had rain yesterday. We've got wind and clouds, and it could be anything. The honey flow is wrapping up. Who knows? But all in all, I don't call that aggressive. Are they very gentle? No, but they're not aggressive. Not like they were. So I'll live with that. And that queen's exploding. I've got to get a box on them, and I got to go get some foundation. Other than that, that's it. Really, not a lot to do. So I hope the videos don't thin out too much. All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for today. I'm gonna go see if I can beat this rain and get some grass cut next door. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. And look, share it with your friends, your family, and anybody just enjoys watching bees. This is Barry's Best Honey. I'm Mike, and I do bees. Y'all have a wonderful afternoon, and God bless y'all.